Okay, this is the third time that I am starting to refilm this because I don't know how to talk about this in a way where I can keep YouTube happy and not get in trouble with YouTube, but also tell enough details that it makes sense. But basically today I'm going to be talking about how I went from being a complete loser to ending up in law school, and it really was, I kind of just woke up one day and was like, what the hell am I doing? I had so many bad decisions, and I think it came from me being so depressed and just not caring about my life at all. Thankful that I have like a family that cares about me, or else I probably would not be here today. Either not be here, or I would be living like a really not good life. Like, I was so close to literally destroying my entire life. And somehow I made it out. And I wish that there would have been a video that I could have watched when I was 16, making all these bad decisions. Or honestly, when I was 18, a freshman in college, and hated my life, and seeing that there could be a light at the tunnel. Because if you told me when I was 18 years old that I ended up graduating law school, passing the bar, and like having a successful social media and living in a beautiful apartment in LA all on my own, I would be like mind blown, because I was heading not in that direction. I was heading nowhere. I'm gonna try to talk about this YouTube friendly, and I'm going to go a lot deeper on this subject on my podcast, so stay tuned because that's coming out soon. But I hope this can help someone out there, because just because you are like messing up your life, you could be like in the lowest point in your life right now and making terrible decisions, and you really can turn your life around. I really think, I don't want to blame, I'm just going to say this once because I know like editing this, like if I say it more than once, I'll be like, oh my god, why did I say it so many times? I don't want to ever blame other people for my actions, but I do think who you surround yourself with really influences your lifestyle and the decisions you make, because it's very natural as a human being to want to conform to who you are around. I had gotten good grades my whole life. Actually, little flex in first grade, they thought I was going to be a prodigy. Didn't happen that way, but I had pretty high reading levels. That's like my one huge flex. I've always been smart, but I am a very jokey person. I don't take things too seriously. I like to joke around. Life, people have always just assumed I'm the stupid girl who knows nothing. People still assume, like my TikTok comments and like reading Reddit threads, people still assume I'm such an idiot. Like, even though I've gone to law school, passed the bar on the first try, people are still like, oh no, she's dumb. And I think that comes with being a girl. 8th grade, I've always been in like the quote unquote like popular crowd. Overnight, all my friends dropped me because this one girl, literally out of a Mean Girls episode, we had a journal we shared together. We'd write all our secrets down. And she decided one day she didn't want to be my friend, and she circulated this journal. She ripped out all of her pages from the journal and then circulated a journal just of all my embarrassing secrets to the whole middle school, and convinced all my friends not to be friends with me anymore. On no basis, but because middle school girls are just mean, everyone was like, yeah, let's drop Callie. And like literally all my friends dropped me overnight, and I was so depressed, and like all of a sudden became like the weird girl overnight that had no friends. It hit me like freshman year, after feeling like so weird for so long. I was like, I need to conform to a group again. And in my head, I was like, okay, I think like to be cool, I just need to give off the vibe that I don't care. Have my toes been in the shop the whole time? That's really embarrassing. Such flawed logic, but can we remember I was like 14? Summer going into sophomore year, I started hanging out with a new crowd of people who were making very bad decisions. Basically, everything you can think of under the sun, I consumed. Even like imagine how much that has messed with my brain chemistry. My boyfriend at the time in high school too would do all of these things with me. And so I felt like we were like this power cool couple for being the cool couple who didn't care, and like he didn't get good grades, he failed classes, so then I would fail classes, and like my friends would get detention, so I would literally do things on purpose to get detention so I could be like, yeah, look at me, like I really don't care, like I get detention, I skip class, I don't care. I started failing like all of my classes in high school. My GPA was so low. I put my parents through like hell. The amount of times I almost went to rehab. I was applying to colleges. I remember feeling so sad because all of my like friends that I'd had since like childhood did not take the same path as me, and they were all applying to schools, like good schools that they were excited about. And when I applied, I was like, I have a super low GPA, I did terrible on the SAT, like no one's even going to take me. And I did only get accepted into 3 schools. The school I ended up going to was basically just an extension of my high school. Like everyone that I surrounded myself with, that I made bad decisions with, went to this college that I went to. So I'll never forget, like, on the day of high school graduation when all my friends were so excited to be graduating, I remember going home and crying. And I'm on my period right now, so that makes me like, I don't know why I want to cry thinking about that, but I think it's because I'm on my period. But it was just really, like, I remember feeling just like so sad and so left out because like barely graduating and like going to like a school I wasn't excited about, and I couldn't even like relate or like talk to my friends who were like so excited to be going to colleges and like had dreams and plans for their future, and like I had no plan. My parents dropped me off my first day of freshman year, like move-in day. I remember like sobbing when I got there, which was mainly because I was like so scared. Like I'm very close with my parents, so like I get homesick very easily. Like one time I tried to do a sleepaway camp, I faked a fever so I could go home. Like I was just so devastated to be at this school. Like I did not want to be here. It was in the middle of nowhere and it was with everyone from high school. I was basically just continuing on high school. I had no plans for my future, did not care. I had like chilled out a tiny bit before going to college just because I got in a lot of trouble and almost got sent to rehab. It picked back up once I got to college because all of a sudden I had so much freedom. I went from like my parents making sure I wasn't doing bad things to there was no one to like tell me I couldn't do anything. Now I was 18 and I was at college living on my own, so I could do whatever I wanted. And so I really took that to the extreme, and the school I went to was not like a normal funny ha-ha party school. It was like really heavy. It got pretty dark there. People went out Monday through Sunday and we weren't just drinking. That's all I will say. When you're doing that every single day, you start to really not be okay mentally. I was like barely going to class in college because like no one's gonna, like, you're not gonna get in trouble for it, let's get a bad grade. Had to withdraw from several classes because there was no way I wasn't gonna fail because I had missed so many things. Got to the lowest point I had ever gotten to in my life where I literally wanted to die and was taking actions to ensure that happened. I ended up finishing my freshman semester at home, and I think I had like a 2.4 GPA. I remember feeling so low when I went home because I felt like such a loser, and I was like, wow, like I still had no plans for my life at all, and I was like, I just knew I could not go back to the school because it had become such a dark place for me, and I was so desperately trying to figure out what to do because I have this 2.5 GPA. I have no aspirations in life. No schools are really going to want to take a student who has like multiple withdrawals on their transcript. I actually was planning on doing a semester abroad in Hawaii and then like figuring it out from there. But then one day, Celia, my best friend, told me she was going to transfer to Suffolk. She didn't want to jinx her chances of getting in because she went to a school as well. We both like went to different schools our freshman year, and then we transferred to Suffolk together. She almost didn't tell me because she didn't want to jinx it, but she told me last minute, and there was literally, it was too late for me to apply online, but Suffolk had like this day where you could go in person and you could have a meeting with them and bring all your transcripts. They would tell you while you were at that meeting whether you would get accepted to the school or not. I was in Nantucket with Celia. I had to like get on the next ferry back, and then I had to drive up to that school like super early in the morning, get my transcripts, and then the person who was supposed to give me my transcripts wasn't there, and they were like, I don't know if I can release it, and I was like, are you kidding me? You need to release it. And like somehow it all worked out, and I made it to Suffolk like just on time for my meeting, and I like didn't think I was gonna get accepted. Somehow they accepted me on the spot, and I was so shocked, but I was so relieved because I just knew that this was going to change my life, and it did. If I had not got accepted into Suffolk, I like literally also Suffolk my life because I don't know where I would be. I wish I had a better formula of how I went from like being so reckless to like not, but I think it that mental breakdown I had was so important because it led me to go to counseling, and I stopped doing bad things. And I obviously still drink, but like I have not done any other bad things since that breakdown. I decided it was messing with my brain too much. When I started at Suffolk, I was just surrounded by other people who also cared. Like, it wasn't like a normal thing to just like, I'm not saying people didn't party at Suffolk, but people like actually cared there. And I remember I decided like, okay, it's time to have a direction. In sophomore year, you have to claim your major. So I claimed pre-med for a day, which I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I still was in my very lost era, and I claimed pre-med for a day, and then I went to my first chem class, and they were like, if you don't know this, 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 or this, you should leave. They were obviously weeding people out, and they successfully weeded me out because I left like in tears because I was like, oh my god, like I finally ready to get my life back together, and I can't do this. And I ran to my advisor's office, and I was like, I don't know what to do, but I can't be a pre-med major. We need to change that right now. And I was like, maybe I'll be an English major because I like to write. And she was like, why don't you try a pre-law program? And that's, the rest is history. I was just like, okay. Like, once I found, I guess that's really what helped and like changed me for the better. Because in high school, I had moments where I like stopped doing things and bettered myself for a bit, but then it would go downhill again. And I think the reason I never went downhill again is because I finally found a direction. The second I started surrounding myself with people who were making good decisions and people who actually cared about me, I started to thrive. I'll never forget too, all of my friends that I had at my first school, when they found out that they overheard through the grapevine that I was going pre-law and was planning on going to law school, they literally started a group chat that they didn't have me in, and they were all laughing and cracking up at how hilarious they thought it was that I thought I could ever go to law school or let alone do pre-law. And yeah, I ended up doing pre-law and passing the bar, so they can all shut the hell up, respectfully. I really just wanted to make this video, and like I said, I'm going to go so much more in detail on my podcast, but I definitely don't have like the conventional how I decided to go to law school story. I literally just like, my advisor told me go pre-law after I was coming off of mental breakdown and like a 4-year bender. And the second that I found something, you just need to find something to care about. I don't want to say it's like easy, and I think everyone has like different situations. I'm very lucky that like I had a family that was there to support me, not only like mentally but like financially. Like obviously I'm not going to say it's just like easy to just transfer schools, but I do think if you're able to at least just like, if anyone is going through a time where like they feel lost and like they're making bad decisions and like nothing's ever going to get better, I think it's like, try to change your environment in any way you possibly can. Sometimes being at the lowest point in your life can be a positive thing because it really can't get lower, and it takes getting to a really low place in your life and having, not necessarily, you don't have to have a mental breakdown, but it takes being at a low place in your life sometimes to be the thing that drives you to change. So if you're at a point in your life right now where you're like depressed and you're super low in your life, it's not the end all, and like there is light at the end of the tunnel. And this is coming from someone who literally did not care if they lived or died, and now I care. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video.